Hi guys, apologies, it's been quite a while again. Been overwhelming for me recently, trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. So as you can see on my iPad, the timing is almost 4 a.m. right now because I'm barely squeezing out time, having very little sleep. So anyway, back to the session today is based on the master plan. It always mean that whatever is you see in a master plan is confirmed set in stone, or is it guaranteed, blah blah blah? Because I hear a lot of people say, hey, this agent tell me the master plan is confirmed, blah blah blah. The master plan may give you the rough outline, the rough idea of what is gonna come in, but things like the color itself may change, the plot ratio may change, but it doesn't mean that every single thing will change. So you have to look at certain factors or whether what is the likelihood of it changing and what kind of changes will come in. But if you're talking about, let's say, a protected landed kind of area in the master plan, then very likely it's not going to change because that one is a designated conservation area. But if you're talking about a landed area that is not protected, then chances of it maybe going on block and then erecting something that is going to be a little bit more high rise is not say unlikely. So that kind of thing we have to see and take a look at the master plan, see whether this sort of changes may or may not be expected. Because why are we talking about this today? You look at this article that just came out 2 days ago, I think, 2 or 3 days ago lah. This site at Toa Payoh, which is interesting because recently I just sold $1 million flat over here, and then quite a lot of the buyers they were saying, oh, I want this unblocked view over the other side. I can see Macritchie and Breda View, which is this one, the largest residential estate in Singapore, which is tried going for unblocked by the way for a lot of times, but very unlikely they will even go through because of the sheer size of the land and developer risk. So anyway, that one we will leave to another day. So I while selling the unit, which was still sold quite fast, but there were a lot of buyers. My phone was basically exploding, but there were a lot of people asking. They want the other side. They want the view on the other side because they say it's unblocked. But the funny thing is that uh before when they were looking at it about 2 to 3 months back, um, if you look at our master plan, what it says is that, oh, there's going to be an educational institution there, and hence it's very likely going to be unblocked, by the way, on this plot of land. And a lot of them, they were looking at this block, they were looking at not this, the facing over there. Okay, because they want to look at this view. But the funny thing is even one of the neighbors, that was upgrading from a 3 room to a 4 room in this exact same block. They were looking for that facing also, and they ended up buying. From what I heard, they ended up buying one of the facing over here, 20 something floor, and then guess what? Suddenly, these came out from the news that there was a proposed amendment, not say confirm, but I think it will be very likely that it's going to go through. That instead of building a school, they decided Toa Payoh doesn't seem to have a very strong need for more educational institutions, so they are going to zone it completely from education to residential. And then not just that, this BTO site was only, let's just take a look. The BTO site itself is 4.2 and they already built up to 40 stories. So same goes for this one. I think it's also for the stories, which is already an ongoing building BTO project. And this is the current master plan right now. And what happened is that they actually decided to rezone this into a residential plot of 5.0. Like that means this one, it is not just going to be 40 stories, it's going to be maybe even 50 stories. So good luck to those guys. They are, buying for the so-called Macritchie view. They better make sure they enjoy the view over the next few days, lah, over the next few years, lah, hor. That's why I feel when you want to buy property, you want to buy, for the views, blah, blah, blah. You don't expect things to be permanent because what you see right now may not be always what you get 10 to 20 years down the road because Singapore is simply changing too fast. There's a lot of things coming up because our land size is small, and that's why there needs to be a lot of development coming up, and then our government have a lot of plans in mind for us. So that's why when you are buying a piece of land, you see whatever you see on block unblocked lands right now, you need to look at the surrounding. What are the chances of things changing? And then make a decision from there. If you do not have enough knowledge to really interpret what's going on in the master plan, then please go and seek some professional advice and help so that you make the right decisions. Don't end up by committing to $1 million purchase, then regretting it next time because you didn't foresee this coming. Okay. And so this was the view. If there is one thing that I think, looking at those buyers who were, what I call it, super emotional, they wanted a view, they wanted high floor, and high floor won't be blocked. Even if they build something, it's gonna be unblocked. Then you realize this plot of land is gonna be 5.0 uh plot ratio. I think I don't think even any other parts of Toa Payoh is gonna be that high. So it's gonna be one of the highest in the whole Toa Payoh, and it's definitely gonna block air view. So unfortunately for those buyers, they were looking at that view, they were looking at it facing. Too bad for them. And then I hope they enjoy the view right now lah. But then again, a lot of you were saying, or a lot of you will be thinking, hey, my agent said the master plan is done up by the government, is done up by the UIA. Yes, it is done by the UIA, but it does not mean that every single thing down there will not be changed, because the master plan is revised every 5 years. And like what we observed just now, they can be proposed and then proof amendments to the master plan, which will mean that whatever you see right now may not be what you get. Okay, another example will be this one, which was confirmed already at Farrer Park. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, that time when Piccadilly was selling last year in May, uh, even at this kind of price, people were going crazy over this kind of price. And then they were saying, oh, everything is so expensive, blah, blah, blah. And I can guarantee you look at this Seneca today, at the kind of location, 2000 PSF, people were saying, hey, wow, can enter, like, can buy. Like, in fact, the one and two bedder were all stepped up. I think within the first day. So it seems that people are actually accepting a RCR price, less than 1 year ago. For OCR, there is, I would say, quite ulu lah. For Tanah Merah, I would say quite ulu already. And people were complaining about this kind of price. I'm not saying this one is a good buy at this price, but I remember I did a review, go and look at it. I mentioned that this is still not a very good buy to me, even at this price. But people are going batshit crazy over, like 2000 PSF is still acceptable for blah 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 new launch. And I'm pretty sure next year will be the same thing again. But anyway, back to the topic. That time it was launched at around start of May, and there were a lot of agent and marketing, blah blah blah. People were saying, oh, you look at the empty pieces of land around Piccadilly Grand, all these are very likely gonna be condo, blah blah blah. And then hence they were trying to sell the potential of the place, because they use that the same old logic that, oh, the upcoming new condos are going to go up the price of the Lily Grand, and that's why you should use it as an investment. And then I feel the funny thing is the government seems to know that, oh, so these are what you guys are speculating. So guess what? Let us clarify. And then somehow during near the launch of Piccadilly Grand, eh, they decided to announce, oh, guess what, guys? This is not going to be a condo. This is going to be a public housing estate. So let's have fun. And then they redesigned this thing, which till now is still not updated. But if you look at the plan, this is already updated. Okay. So this one is just another example of, oh, you try to hype it up. Oh, guess what? We are going to slap it down for you with this. Okay. And then one more thing is that the other one is, which was approved at Jurong district over there. This one is still not updated in the master plan, but it already has been approved. So this one was another change of use, just another example again. Like what I mentioned, not say every single area there's gonna be unexpected changes. You have to look at the surrounding and make an educated guess whether all these are gonna be all HDBs, or are there gonna be some condos mixed here and there, or are there gonna be changes in plot ratios, especially if it says subject to detailed planning. That means it's definitely going to have some changes coming up. The other one, which was rather interesting, will be these Warwick residents, where a lot of them, the ultra high net worth people, even they were being marketed the concept that, hey, Warwick is gonna be the highest in the area. Since it's the highest, so if you buy the topmost, the uppermost few stories, it's gonna be unblocked forever because blah blah blah, because it's the highest 290 meters tallest building in Singapore. And guess what? Now upcoming former AXA Tower is going to be redeveloped and set to be the highest at 305 meters, 15 meters higher. And we know that it's going to be blocking Warwick and establishing itself as one of the highest, or if not the highest, when it's going to be done in Singapore. So, unfortunately for those guys over here, you're buying for the so-called unblocked view. This guy is gonna overtake your status and also still cause one, not say fully blocked, but it's gonna be one small little eyesore for your view, for your so-called unblocked view that you're paying millions and millions for. Okay, thankfully, maybe Mr. Dyson has already cashed out. He knew this beforehand, but obviously he cashed out at the loss. So it doesn't mean that sometimes the ultra rich are making the best decisions. Okay, the other thing is this was a development that was marketed after a Piccadilly Grand. Soon after Piccadilly Grand, we're gonna show this to you in a while. And obviously around this development, all these are not so unblocked. But for developers, they just put it for marketing use. So that's why please don't be duped by this. I'm very, very, very sure that there are people who are duped by this somehow. Don't ask me how they are like this, but because the thing is that not everyone who steps in the show flat is very I would say very competent in analyzing properties lah, or even know what are all the things to look out for. Because typically when people buy properties, what they do is, or I go online, look a little bit, see some information, look at what's the procedure or tips to buy properties, and then watch a couple of videos, and then they think that, let's say I'm a certified pro, and then I know all the things to look out for. I need to buy near MRT, near good schools, and freehold, whatever, good entry price. But what is good entry price? They don't know. They just think that, some people say, some agents market it as a good entry price, and that's why this is what I call good entry price, without really analyzing why through the use of data. And that is how they get duped into thinking that, what they buy is going to be what they expect. So, if you guessed it correctly, it is actually Live at MP. Okay, so we look at the prices that they're paying. Even last year, I remember doing a review on this, and I was saying 2003, 2004, even at that kind of price, I wouldn't be sinking my own money in, because it's 99 in the freehold area. So, and people were paying for this kind of price even for some of the unblocked views unit, which was more of the south. And if you look at from Google Earth, I think this is the former Katong Park Towers, then you can have a little bit of pocket view of the sea. And then maybe these are some of the reasons why people are paying higher for that, because of the higher floor. Then you get a little bit of pocket sea view. These are one of the kind of things that people are willing to pay for. And then, or see a little sea. And guess what? They forgot about the East Coast plan, which was the Long Island plan. And it's not just that, they don't just build extra sand for you. They're gonna build very likely extra housing, because what we see over here, you can see Long Island plan could be developed for housing, and then even with a reservoir in between. That means even if they can fit in a reservoir, that means this thing is gonna be very sizable. And hence they may, once they build buildings, then good luck to your so-called unblocked view, or maybe even pocket view. Imagine you finally pay extra for the pocket view of the sea, and then it's going to be blocked eventually. Then I would say good luck to you lah. That's why I feel, if you're buying properties, for the unblocked view, because you want to enjoy, you want this and that, you want to enjoy the emotional side of it, then I think it is important that you do not have expectations that, or just because I have very nice view, I have very nice layout, blah blah blah, then or maybe you want to do a super nice renovation, then people are gonna buy from me for at an even higher price, because I'm good. My unit is naturally better than the rest. That's what you think, but just as long as you're charging, as long as you're asking for something that is a lot higher, because you want to make the same amount of profit as somebody who got it at a way more affordable PSF, then you cannot expect that people are willing to do it, because that is what you, because when sometimes when you buy with emotions, you're being basically being overwhelmed by logic. You're overwhelmed, you're by emotions, you have very little logic in making decisions. Lah. So we'll touch on that later. And you realize the funny thing is that Leaf was launched at late, not say really late lah, so more towards like late mid May. And then seeing all the hype around it, this article came out 6th of June to clarify that there's gonna be, the Long Island plan. And why didn't they talk about this early? Because this concept plan has been ongoing for very, very long. But they decided to throw this article out of, so many years that they don't want to talk about it. But when Leaf and MB came out, then they started talking about it. So it seems that government is trying to hit you guys, hey, don't go and believe in all the hype again, please. But people, too bad this news came up after that, and naturally there were quite some people who back out for whatever reasons. But that's not without losing quite some money. So I think important thing is that you have to ask yourself, why are you buying a property? Are you buying property because you really want to stay, you really want to enjoy the emotional aspects of it alone, or you want to just purely see it as an investment? You want to buy because, or you want to make money at the end of the day. And even making money, there are a few ways for you to make money in property. Are you gonna make money through the capital appreciation way, or are you gonna just try to max out your highest rental yield? Because these are what some of the people are doing, and it may be something that you may overlook, which I will talk about it in a short while. But if you are trying to, enjoy the emotional aspects of it, or you want your perfect layout, you want your perfect view, blah blah blah, at your price point, and then you still want capital appreciation, you want the best of both worlds. I think that is something that we need to manage some expectation, because it's like, when you're looking for life partner last time, as a kid, maybe you're thinking about somebody, or it's gonna be perfect. There's somebody gonna be good looking, rich, generous, kind personality, take care of the family, takes care of you, love you for whatever you are. And then over time, as you're looking and looking and looking, you realize you will get disappointed, and then you decided to settle for something. Okay, as long as you fulfill a little few of my factors, then I think this is the kind of person that you're looking for. So, and then these are the what I call the happy ending. You look for somebody that can, you manage to find somebody that you can settle down with, and then you move on with life. Whereas there are some people who, after after don't know how many years old, they are still looking and looking and looking. I mean, if you are like um older and you already decided, oh, fine, I'm going to stay single, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're still looking and looking and looking because you want that perfect person, I think that is something you may want to manage your expectation, because it's basically similar to those people who are sitting on the fence. They've been looking around for the past few years, for the perfect property, or I want my freehold near MRT, near my favorite layout, with the nicest view, near good school, we near the amenities, every single thing, and then the entry price must be according to, just nice according to my budget, and then I must enter at the first mover price, and you need all these funny criteria to fulfill before you even make a step. If not, then you just wait, and then you guess what? End up you'll be those that have been sitting on the fence, and then you look back, last time I should have commit to this. You see now, look at this, even the us OCR are already settling at 2,000 plus PSF, and maybe 2 3 years back you were looking at 1,005 1,006 PSF for OCR kind of price. In fact, Treasure and Tampines was one of the more profitable projects. They were selling at 1,002 1,003 PSF, and then people were saying, oh, the location so ulu, so expensive, and recently somebody really transacted at 1,007 PSF. So then now looking back, people say, last time I should have bought, last time. But the thing is, last time you wouldn't have bought, because last time you had too many concerns on your mind. You had too many criteria on your mind that you die want to fulfill. Because you think that, I'm going to buy this because it's going to be my retirement home, this is going to be my dream home. So I cannot have a location that is not too convenient. I cannot have a layout that is not so good. I cannot have a view that is not so nice. But I still want to make money. So please, I think that is something that we have. If you are going to invest in Singapore property, we have to manage our expectations. So something has to go. Okay, I think this is something that I would say I would say salespeople are trained in this, but it's not something that I like to believe in. I mean, I believe that this thing is true, but it's not something that I like to exploit and make use of because I'm the kind that I buy with logic. I don't really buy with too much emotions. Who don't like nice house? But I can easily make a HDB that is very comfortable, even though not very nice view, because I know I've lived in places with very nice view before. You stay in there, you MIA for 1 to 2 months, then you realize that you don't see at the balcony anymore because you get sick of the view. You get numb to that view. So it only gives you that novelty factor for a short while. Then you realize that it's not as worth as much as you think it is. So that's why I feel emotions are something that we really need to manage, especially for those of you who are looking for investment, and if and which will be most of you, because you if not, then you wouldn't be spending time listening to this whole long video about me blabbling around or why you should be looking for properties in a more logical and systematic manner. So there is some, I think this phrase is very true for people who like to buy irrationally because they like to buy with their emotions. Then they justify with logic. Like, oh, I want to buy with my uh, nice view layout then near this near that must be near my kids school must be near my parents, must be near all my relatives, must be near my whole kampong and then the thing is I think because of this convenient, that's why I think you will appreciate. Then 10 years down the road they look back, how come never appreciate? I don't understand. The location is so good, everything is so good. But the thing is, you forgot to remember that just because what you like and what you find convenient may not be the same. And just because you may feel convenience is a very important thing to you, it may not be as important to many other people, especially people who buy private properties because they can easily drive around. That's why convenience in terms of location wise, it may be ulu, but if the price point is right, eventually you will still be the one making more profits than the one that is so-called a lot more convenient. So this is another thing, like example, a simple layout that a lot of people were complaining, or this is a two-bed one bath. I cannot get over the fact that it's a layout that I really cannot accept, and that's why I think the crowd won't be able uh to digest, and that's why I think this is not a good investment. And guess what? This particular development made this amount of money, and even for those people, those of them who look at this, if you look at the past, I would say the top six of them are okay. The amount of ROI is actually almost up to this, even though the analyze over here says how much. But if let's say based on this quantum and based on this size, they were entering about 933,000. That was the entry price. But obviously you don't pay everything full down. Maybe your 25% plus your buyer stamp duty, everything is about 260,000. And if you talk about this is almost an ROI of 100%. Isn't it? And after all your net cost, everything, maybe let's say we are talking about $200,000, and then you put 250, $260,000. This is about 80% ROI, isn't it? So for those of you, yes, you may be talking about, Tesla to the moon, 100% here and there. Let's face it, a lot of people out there, even some of the finance gurus on YouTube, they are admitting that they are losing $500,000 kind of paper loss. And why are people actually starting to look into properties nowadays? Because especially for the past year, previously I had quite some friends and even clients that are telling me, oh, why bother property investing in stocks when why bother even investing in properties, because stocks have a lot higher ROI, which I agree, perfectly agree. But the thing is, how good are you at selecting stocks? You cannot base it on COVID kind of period where stocks surge a lot, because I've been investing in stocks for more than 10 years. I know that it's not going to be so rosy all the time. And that's why I didn't jump in with all the tech fever. And thankfully, that's why I'm still in the green today, while a lot of my friends and clients are in the red. And that's why they started looking at properties also, because they decided, hey, screw this. I'm going to put more of my money in property already. And ultimately, in Singapore, yes, when it comes to property, as soon as you buy the right one, it is very difficult to lose money. Why? Because there is a demand in Singapore. There are people are dying to, come in as PR, come in as to convert to Singaporeans, and the most important thing is we have very very scarce amount of land, and that's why you have once you have a demand supply and the demand outweighs the supply, the price has to go up. And there are people who think about, oh, I just go for rental you lah, I don't need to go for capital appreciation. So if let's say with the same amount of with the same size, maybe you rent out for, let's say, $4,000, and after you got your minus of your interest, minus of your taxes, and all your other expenses, you get $1,500 net gain. A How long does it take for you to earn that 200K after courses? So let's say 200K after courses. How long do you take? It's gonna take 3 months, which is going to be more than 10 years in order for you to make the same amount of capital appreciation. So is it important that you have your so-called high rental yield, or do you want to go for capital appreciation, which is not at this point, capital gains are not taxable. Which one would it be more lucrative? Of course, you can say that capital gain is not guaranteed. Yes, it is not guaranteed, but the chances are significantly higher if you choose to be logical instead of trying to focus on what you want and what you think that people actually want. I think the important thing is you need to examine the data and really look at what's really happening on the ground instead of you speculating and trying to guess what people actually want. Okay, this is an example of a property that has very, very high yield. I think for 5% is considered one of the, in fact, this one is one of the highest, I think top three or top five in Singapore when it comes to rental yield average. So we're not talking about ROI over here, we're talking about gross rental yield. So naturally, a lot of investors, they see this and they're like, wow, I'm gonna jump in, man. 5 point something percent. This is super good when it comes to ROI for rental yield. Okay, implied rental yield is very, very high. But if you look at the capital appreciation over the past 10 years, is on this kind of trend. So this so-called high rental yield, is it offset by this capital loss? So essentially, you're telling me the past 10 years you've been renting out, getting so-called good rental, and actually eventually if you calculate the sums, at most you just break even. Is it really worth all the hard work, all the mental stress that your tenant mess up your place, or the ceiling is leaking, or the aircon is spoiled, all these kind of things just to break even? Maybe you park your money in a bank with 0.05 interest, it's gonna be even more steady, and maybe you will definitely be in the green rather than be in the red, because this one is 1,006, this one is 1,001, 1,002. So definitely, no matter how high your rental yield, I don't think it's seriously gonna cover this. So does it always mean that high rental yield is something that you should be aiming for? So even if, then you may be thinking, even then like that, high capital appreciation may be countered by low rental yield. But yes, as long as you are making money on the capital appreciation side, then you do not really have to worry about rental yield. I'm even okay with 3% or even 2.5 or even 2%, because I'm still in the green thanks to capital appreciation. So do I really have to go for the percentage rental yield? To me, it's just something that is there to help me offset a little bit of my mortgage. I even do not have to fully cover my mortgage, but as long as I park my money and let the tenant help me pay off most of the installments for good development, or rather a good unit, then I do not really have to worry about overall appreciation. So that's why I think something is important that you may want to think about, is that what are you really buying for? What are you buying the property for? Are you really buying for capital appreciation to preserve your capital, or are you really buying more for your own emotional needs? If you want to make money, I think it's very important. Very, very important for you to stay logical. Why is like You buy basically people are chasing Tesla stocks like crazy. People buying Tesla stock at $1,200+ before it split. That kind of things. It's easy to fall into that kind of trap where you want to follow everyone. But I think it is important for you to stay logical, especially when you're talking about large sums of money. If you're only talking about $1,000 or less, then forget it, just throw, and then pray to the gods. But if I'm gonna be throwing in a few $100,000, I'm not gonna be praying to the gods for my chances of profitability because it's way too big of a risk. And also the other thing is that people are always still buying for emotions rather than logic. In fact, I had one of this this guy that I was talking to, he ended up buying from another agent, buying this development. And he was showing to me, oh, I'm so happy I bought this development. And I'm like, yeah. Then he showed me the teapot. Oh, this is so nice. So give me a nice teapot set. And then he seems to be super happy with the teapot set, which probably only cost the developer less than $10 to purchase. But it's just a small little gift. And then give him a cheaper looking paper bag, and then there he goes super happy about it because he get a small little gift. And so these are the small little things that developer know that they can attack your emotional wants, and they choose to take advantage of it. So please be very, very logical when it comes to property investment and do not fall for this kind of trap. Okay, so for those of you who need help, you need some advice in this crazy property market, especially with all these new launches coming up right now, over the first half of this year, then please feel free to drop me a text. I'll definitely see how I can help you to navigate all these and make sure you enter into the more stable and profitable developments in time to come. Okay, that'll be all we have for today, and see you guys. Bye bye.